Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, he was sent to Rivers State by President Tinubu to quench the fire that's been burning out of control there. But according to critics, the sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has instead been pouring fuel on that fire, escalating tensions and threatening to ignite a towering monster of a political inferno in the region. They wonder why the president did not choose someone capable of protecting political unity in Rivers State at a difficult turning point in its history. But there are those who now believe that Rivers State may be on track towards mending its fractured political wings. They say there's dialogue going on behind the scenes, that President Tinubu is personally involved, and things appear to be heading towards some form of rapprochement. So is all that likely to bear fruit after the big political brawl and the subsequent imposition of a state of emergency and a sole administrator? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the Niger Delta cultural, political and environmental commentator Ankyo Briggs, whose passionate advocacy has turned her into an iconic human rights activist. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
I wonder if perhaps we can begin with your personal tribute to the late elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark, whose burial rites officially began today here in Abuja. He had quite the remarkable life, didn't he? A life of dedicated service, and his passing is remembered with deep remorse. I mean, someone said he was a patriot without equal.
All those things about Daddy Chief E.K. Clark are what they are, and a lot more, especially for people who have been fortunate enough, I would say, to have related with him with his work, with the issues of Nigeria, with the issues of the Niger Delta, justice and equity. And as he quite rightly put it himself, being brutally frank. And I was fortunate enough, of nearly 3 decades ago now, to have met him when 1998-99, and during the PDP elections and Alamisia's tenure and all of that. And so my relationship with him, knowing him, studying under him, being more or less like well, let me not say protege, but a mentoree. And I have learned a lot from him. It's sad because I feel that he's amongst others, people like Sir Anthony Anahoro, people like Pa Adebanjo, that never saw the realization. They kind of like keep thinking they would see it, and then Pa Adebanjo dies, and you could see where he stood just before he died, and it hurts a little bit for me to see that they didn't realize those dreams. And I am determined, or I feel like it's a responsibility, therefore, to some of us, if not all of us, to make sure that we don't hand over a torch instead of a victory, or a solution instead of a problem to the people coming behind us. In my personal reaction with him, he's stern in his beliefs, and he will not allow you to deviate from his beliefs if he thinks it is not in the interest of the region and Nigeria as a whole. And then if you're like me, where you're probably very passionate about specific things that is not exactly how he sees things, then it becomes difficult. But he recognizes things in people that are useful and necessary for what he believes in and the direction he believes the thing should go. So at the end of the day, it settles down. Everybody is happy at the end of the day, but whether we will ever, people are now talking about, can we get another E.K. Clark? When somebody is as unique as Chief E.K. Clark, I wouldn't say was, let me say is. I think we shouldn't look for a replacement. We should look for someone that will be like E.K. Clark in everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, may he rest ever.
Amen.
Now, he, of course, made huge contributions to the development of the Niger Delta region. How do you think he'd be reacting today to the imposition of a state of emergency on your home state of Rivers and the wrecking ball that you say the administrator is using to clobber the state?
One thing I do know is that the issue of Rivers State was one of the very last fights that he fought. I can't think of any other thing that he was fighting just leading up to the time that he died. And I know and knew then and know now that he was strongly and passionately against what was happening in Rivers State at that time. And I believe that if Chief E.K. Clark had not died, I don't think that that decision to declare a state of emergency would have been done. And I believe that if he were still alive, that by now the issue would have been close to being resolving, if not resolved, because he wouldn't rest. He
wouldn't stand for
just
it,
would not have
and what's the
accepted it.
current state of things right now in Rivers State? Is there cause for hope and optimism? Are things going from bad to worse, or is there a kind of stalemate there?
When I get asked questions that are political, since I am not a politician, I don't think like politicians. And so what politicians are hearing amongst themselves and what they are telling the public are two different things. What someone like me is hearing from the people and I'm feeling for myself is also something different from what the politicians are feeling and hearing. Now, we're hearing so many things, that things are going in the right direction. All I can say to that is that I believe that they are right, because that is what we want in Rivers State. We want peace in Rivers State. Not political peace, not just peace that is on the surface of politicians. We want peace for the people. The politicians may have the kind of peace that they can live with, but the people may not be able to live with the sort of peace that they are or may be jubilating about. There is a lot of talk going around of what is or not happening, but the president has not told us that there is any movement to quell anything. The former governor, who is very much involved in what is going on, or kick-started, in my opinion, of what is going on, and the present governor, who is very desperate for peace by all means, and I find that a little bit not acceptable, but then that's because I'm not a politician.
Well, let me not interrupt you, but I mean, let me interrupt you. I mean, and beg your pardon.
Yeah.
But I mean, moving along that sort of trajectory, I wonder what you make of reports that he's been groveling, some sort of groveling behind closed doors. I mean, that was alleged by Nyesom Wike's people, that he's been begging President Tinubu, and that in fact he prostrated before Nyesom Wike in complete and absolute supplication, and you know, a plea for sort of pardon and reconciliation.
I've not seen anything AI generated or true pictures or video to indicate.
Well, but you've been talking to him.
Been talking to who?
I mean,
Nyesom Wike or
no, the governor. Fuga. I mean, you don't sort of.
No, I mean
have a
like
jolly chin wag.
Oh no, we don't have
Right.
a jolly chin wag. No, we don't. I think my thoughts and I say my thoughts.
Right.
And the governor is my governor, and I have that respect for him. And of
Right.
course, I support him. It's not something I'm hiding. But going back to groveling or not groveling, politicians, we can see pictures of politicians kneeling down to people they think at the moment that they should kneel down to. And then sometimes we don't see pictures of claims that somebody has knelt down. So whether it is true or it is not true, it is not really the interest of Rivers people.
Right.
What is in the interest of Rivers people is simply this: can this come to an end? How did we get here? And again, I say to Mr. President, you believed that something happened or was about to happen, and then you had to declare a state of emergency. Now, whether it was actually a sole administrator or administrator is now being debated, because someone told me the other day, go back and watch the tape. There was no time the president said sole administrator. I've not had time to do it. I will do it, and I will raise an issue about it. But whether or not, it's not the point. The point is, what is the truth? We're hearing, for instance, that accounts of Rivers State have been changed, and accounts of Rivers State have been moved from one bank to the other. Now, I said we're hearing, so it may not be true. But then in situations like this, whatever you hear is news, so you have to investigate it. So now you hear, I get phone calls. It was through phone call that I got that. I get phone calls asking me, I hear that the Rivers State bank account has been moved. I hear that the governor left a lot of money. We must have accountability. All these things are floating around. So we need to hear from the president of Nigeria. He declared this state of emergency. He said 6 months. Now, 6 months can end up being 2 months. It can end up being 1 month, but we've passed 1 month. And so we in Rivers State know and believe that this is not in our interest. There is no way what is going on in Rivers State. You see the reaction of people in Rivers State.
Nevertheless, that's the situation.
Yes, nevertheless,
now.
That's the situation. And
I wonder if you're encouraged by the news coming out of the National Assembly that the Senate is going to be oversighting what's happening in Rivers State.
Again, you see, it's worrisome. It's worrisome for us because though there is a place, and I'm not a lawyer, therefore I'm not a constitutional lawyer because I'm not a lawyer, but now we begin to ask ourselves when we hear things like that, wait a minute, we are in a situation where we're resisting the state of emergency. We're saying we don't want a state of emergency. It's not in our interest. We didn't need a state of emergency. And now we're hearing that a group of people that, I don't know about other Nigerians, but a group of people who are supposed to represent all Nigerians from all states, whom are not really trusted by the people that have put them there, are now going to be overseeing other people's affairs, i.e. Rivers State affairs. Why is that necessary? Why can't we have our governor back? We're supposed to have a state assembly. Now they will tell you that that is because the members of the state assembly are also under suspension. Now you ask yourself, by the way, why do we have to have them oversee our state assembly?
Right. When you've got democratic sort of structures.
Exactly. So
right.
Why do we have to see them? And in the first place, even though Ibas did not make himself who he is today in Rivers State, the question is, all the things he's doing, has done, who told him to do it? Yeah. Why even is he doing those things? Why is he? You take IREC, for instance. IREC is a democratically constituted body to conduct state elections, i.e. local government elections. Why did he remove them?
Well, look, I've got to move on very quickly because we've literally got 2 minutes. And you talked a lot about the people. And clearly your sympathies lie with the people. We saw recently a mass walkout by women who support Governor Fubara. The women walked out when the wife of the sole administrator was invited to speak at an event chanting, "Give us Fubara." What did you make of all that?
Very quickly, we must not forget that they were invited, or if we didn't know, I know, women across Rivers State were invited to the pet project of the First Lady. The First Lady has been interacting with of Nigeria, has been interacting with the First Lady of Rivers State on this pet project. So this is not the first time that this pet project has been in Rivers State. From what I gathered from the Rivers Women Unite for SIM, which is an organization, I belong to that organization as well from my local government, of all the 23 local government areas in Rivers State. They were also asked to attend that gathering. That was also our day of prayers. They had to give up that day of prayer. So that shows you that what respect or importance they placed on interacting with the First Lady. First, it was thought that the First Lady of Nigeria was going to be there. She wasn't there. And then second, they were told, they told me that they were told that a lady called Mrs. Abbas. There's a difference between Mrs. Abbas and Ibas.
Right.
They were told that a Mrs. Abbas was going to address them.
Very quickly,
now,
about 20 seconds.
These women were wearing a T-shirt that had both First Ladies on their T-shirt, and the governor's pictures was also there. Now, how then did we go from them wearing those T-shirts and walking out? They were not expecting the wife of Ibas to address them.
Right.
And they believed she had no business addressing them. I also believe that she had no business. She's not the First Lady of Rivers State, and she was not brought in to Rivers State along with her husband to function in any capacity apart from being in the house with him.
Indeed. Ankyo Briggs, I want to thank you very much indeed. Great to see you again. She is, of course, the Niger Delta cultural, political, and environmental commentator whose advocacy has turned her into an iconic human rights activist. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.